Good afternoon, everybody. This is Tracy Armstrong, owner-operator of North Pittsburgh Greeting Company, the area's premier welcome wagon services, welcoming all the new homeowners and new businesses to the ever-growing North Pittsburgh area. Today, we had the pleasure of speaking with Aaron Turo of Turo Family Chiropractic. And believe it or not, we are at the end of October. I know a lot of people are scratching their heads going, where did this year go? Because we were all in a little bit of a haze there for a while in 2020. But believe it or not, in just 2 months' time, it's going to be 2021. And a lot of people in the new year want to start focusing on their health and setting new goals for their health. And Angela today is going to talk to us about how you can set up realistic goals and how you can achieve those goals. Aaron, excuse me, Angela, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Oh, very good. And Angela, how often do you hear when setting goals when it comes to making health changes? Why is it so important to set these goals?
Absolutely. And like you said, believe it or not, the new year is going to be here. And that always brings around this idea of needing to set goals when really any time is a good time to set a new goal and start a new goal. And the reason I don't like to wait until the new year to talk about it is because a lot of the times people will just sort of throw out these last 2 months of the year and just go, well, I'll just start over in January. So I like to personally sort of have it on my mind going into the holidays. And I think that's helpful for people to not think, okay, I can just do whatever I want for the next 2 months and then and then start over. And goals really just help us stay focused. They help us stay on track, and they help us actually set specific action steps so that we know, we're doing the right things. And without a goal, you could be doing what you think is good for you, what you think are the right steps, but without having that ultimate end goal in mind, it might not be the right, just like when you set goals for your business and you have specific action steps on how to reach those goals, it's the same way with your health. And those action steps are going to be very different depending what your end goal is. So, someone who wants to run a marathon versus somebody who wants to max out their deadlift or squat are going to have two very different, training plans. So it ultimately comes down to, what do you really truly want? Because that needs to drive everything.
Great. And what are some factors people should consider when setting their goals? I'm sure, goal setting is different for a 21-year-old man versus a 56-year-old woman. So what should people think about when they start, okay, these are my goals. I want to lose weight. I want to lose inches. I don't care about losing weight or inches, but I care about lowering my cholesterol or lowering my blood pressure. So can you give us some of those factors somebody needs to consider?
Absolutely. And like you said, their goals are going to be different for everybody. And at the end of the day, every goal should be what we call SMART. It should be, so SMART, SMART, which is specific, measurable, attainable or achievable, relevant, and time bound. So like you were saying, as far as the age factor, that's sort of the relevant, a 21-year-old athlete isn't going to have the same goals as a middle-aged woman who maybe is more concerned with, menopause and weight issues and things like that. So that's where the relevant factor comes in. And I think this year in particular that's going to be very, very important. So making sure you're setting goals that are achievable and are relevant to you and where things are currently with your life. A lot of people are, I know we keep talking about 2021, like things are just going to magically go back to normal, but that's very likely not the case. So
no,
a lot of people, are still dealing with a very home-based life, are still dealing with, maybe not being able to travel or do the things that they want to do. So you really want to make sure this year in particular, you're setting goals that are relevant to our current situation. So, if your gym's not open or you're not comfortable going to the gym, don't make a goal that involves going to the gym. So it's really going to be important to look at what is realistic right now in the world, in your particular life. If your kids are all at home and you used to work out, during the day when your kids were at school, well, that's not an option anymore. So it's really going to be about making sure that you're setting goals that are realistic and are achievable in the current situation and not just trying to, make everything magically go back to how it was before.
Yeah.
When things,
for example, if you're not a morning person, like you said, some people have their children at home with them all day, but you're not a morning person, but you say, well, I'm going to start working out at 5 a.m. Realistically, is that really going to happen? No, maybe you're more up and energized at 4 in the afternoon, and that's when you choose to get a workout in.
exactly.
And
Yes.
that's just one little minor part of being realistic.
Yeah, stick the kids in front of the show for a half hour and let you get your workout in.
And you know what? There's nothing wrong with sticking your kids in front of the TV for a half hour, even for an hour, them watching cartoons while you work out, especially as a mother. Because I fully believe as a parent, you are better off, you're better off for your children, both mentally and physically, when you're in shape and your mind and your physical body are in shape. You're a better parent to your children than if you're not in shape and you're just lackluster and you're tired all the time. You're not a really good for your kids.
Exactly.
And as a parent myself, I feel, your kids learn from watching what you do. And even as a young age, if your children see their mom or dad, or hopefully both, working out every day or working out just every other day, in your child's mind, that's what they think of as just being a normal, an adult routine. So you're really just setting good examples for your kids.
Exactly.
So it's really, I know some parents feel a little guilty about that, but you're only good enough as a parent as you are to your body. The more energy you have, the more focused you are, the better parent you're going to be.
Exactly. And like you said, if your kids don't see you prioritizing it in your life, how are they going to learn to prioritize it in their life? And
when they become adults,
it's much easier to learn those habits early on than it is to try to learn them as an adult. So the sooner that kids,
the sooner the better.
Yeah. Exactly.
What's the biggest problem people encounter when it comes to sticking to their goals?
So I would say there's probably two things. One is the all or none mentality. So a lot of times we'll set these goals and they're very ambitious. They might even be very achievable, but then again, life happens, something comes up and we don't get quite all the way there. And if you have that all or none mentality, then you're going to go into it going, okay, well, I either hit my goal or I didn't and I failed. And that it can be very dangerous, because if you're not flexible, if you're not willing to adjust your goals, adjust the plan along the way, it can be very discouraging if you're not getting the results that you want, which happens sometimes, especially when you're starting, if you're changing your diet, changing your exercise routine. There can be a lot of trial and error. So it might not be as simple as just, okay, yep, boom, great, I'm doing it and I'm getting the results that I want. It might take some time to kind of figure out, especially if you're new to, I tell people that all the time with exercise. If you're new to exercise, you have to figure out what works for your body, because what works for you isn't going to be what works for me, isn't going to be what works for somebody else. So, you need to take that time. And especially right now, if you're under added stress, that's going to play into it. Again, if you're dealing with wearing multiple hats, a lot of people right now are parent, teacher, babysitter, they're everything. So it's, if you're trying to deal with all that, again, it's just life looks very different right now. So if you don't have that flexibility, that's going to just lead to kind of getting discouraged and feeling like, you didn't make it. So what I always tell people is appreciate every little success along the way. So it's not just the end goal. It's, if your goal is to work out 3 times a week and you only did it once, well, you still did it once. So appreciate
you still did it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, look at those little successes, look at, be happy about what you've done. Even if, you don't lose a single pound, you don't lose a single inch, that's where I'm at right now. I know I have this stress weight that's just sitting there and it doesn't want to go anywhere, but
we all do.
Yeah. But I'm working out every day. I'm eating right. So it's like, who cares? I don't care what, it's like, I'm still doing the things that are taking care of myself. So it's just, finding the right things to focus on. And with that, the other big thing that people tend to lose sight of is remembering your why. So your goal is what you want to accomplish. Why you want to accomplish it is your driving factor. So if you don't have a strong why, then that goal is never going to happen. And if you do reach it, you're not going to sustain it, because if you're just doing it because it's the new year and, it was some 30-day, 90-day challenge that you signed up for, just because, and you're not really passionate about it, or you don't have that strong driving factor, it's not going to work. If you're doing it because somebody else told you to, or you saw it work for somebody else, it's not going to work. It has to be personal to you. It has to be something that is really internally what you want, because that's ultimately what's going to keep you going through the setbacks, through the obstacles. If it's not something that is really important to you at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to achieve it. And I bring that up to people all the time, especially with weight loss goals, because people will say, oh, I want to lose X number of pounds. And my first question is always, okay, well, how will your life look different if you weighed X pounds less than what you do now? And, the responses vary. It could be anything from more energy to, better blood work numbers to, fitting better in your clothes, feeling better about yourself, wide range of response. But whatever their response is, what I'll usually do is take their goal and then change it to be more based on that, instead of just focusing on the number on the scale. Because if your goal is to lose 30 pounds because you think it's going to, improve X, Y, and Z in your life, well, then let's make the goal to improve X, Y, and Z in your life. And if you happen to lose 30 pounds, great. But if you lose 15 and X, Y, and Z were improved, then you're still successful. So it's, again, just kind of reframing your mindset and remembering why you're doing it. And remembering, how your life is going to be better when you reach that goal.
Exactly. And what I think a lot of women, especially women, and I know, we think thin. But let's face facts. Strong is the new skinny in this world.
Absolutely.
Just because a woman is this big doesn't mean that she doesn't have hypertension, doesn't mean she suffers from anxiety. You could be super thin because you're so anxious you can't eat. And guess what? That's just as dangerous as being overweight.
Exactly.
So it's being skinny mini isn't exactly the greatest thing for you, but being strong is.
Absolutely. Strong.
So now somebody might, they're watching this right now. Again, life is just full of uncertainty. A lot of people have gained weight, unfortunately, over the past year. I'm guilty of it. I know you admitted you're guilty of it. I think I could line up 10 people right now and all of them would be guilty of it. And if they're lying to themselves and to everybody else. So somebody's like, boy, I kind of let myself go in 2020. All kinds of stressors in 2020. Everybody has had a different, shelf of stressors. What if someone needs help, obviously you're out there, Angela Turo, to help them. What type of services do you offer people with their health goals? And how can they go about reaching you and setting up an appointment now before the new year? So they're getting their mind ready that I'm going to make a change, and they're starting to mentally prepare for that change. And you're there to help them. Please tell us your services and how they can reach you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the way we do things in this office is we take a salutogenic approach, which means we focus on factors that promote health and wellness. So the chiropractic obviously is first and foremost, what brings people into the office and is a huge part of your overall health, making sure, if your nervous system isn't, operating optimally, you're going to have a lot of other issues. But along with that is we want to promote other healthy lifestyle changes. And that's really where I come in, is sitting down and basically everything that we talked about today, doing that on a one-on-one basis with someone. So really focusing on, where are you now? Where do you want to be? What are the steps that need to be taken to get there? Some people come in, already have a goal in mind, and I maybe just help them sort of tweak it and work on those action steps. Some people have no idea. They just know they're not in a good place and things need to change. And so we start from the very beginning, setting those goals. So, and then either way, what it really comes down to is the accountability. So like you said, it's really easy to lie to yourself, but it's a lot harder to lie to somebody else. So when you have that accountability, meeting with me on a weekly or bi-weekly, even if it's just monthly basis, just kind of having that check-in can be really, really helpful. I have clients who email me or text me at different times just to kind of say like, okay, I was sort of getting off track, but now I'm getting back on track. And just, again, knowing that you have that person that's not you, it's not someone in your house, it's sort of this external person that is keeping an eye on you that you have to report back to, can be really, really helpful. Same idea behind, weight loss, like support groups and the buddy system and things like that. And the thing with me is, it's like I said, I can help people keep you flexible and change your goals along the way and make sure that, what you're doing is matching up with where you ultimately want to be. And because that's, at the end of the day, we all sometimes, I think, need that reminder that, it's okay. It's not going to go perfectly. You're not
No,
gonna...
it's not, because we're human beings.
Exactly.
So it's never going to go perfectly.
Right.
We're imperfect people.
If we learned anything this year, it's that like literally anything could happen. Like you can make all the plans in the world, you can have all the best intentions in the world, but there ultimately are going to be things you can't control. And so it's
exactly.
It's a matter of not having that all or none mentality, not getting completely derailed, and staying focused, staying on track to the best of your ability, and forgiving yourself when you have a bad day or a bad week or a bad year, because we've all done it. So it's just really accepting and appreciating the whole journey along the way, and not being so focused on that end goal.
Well, Angela Turo of Turo Family Chiropractic, located in North Hills. You're a wonderful resource of information. You're highly educated. You're very well versed in what you do. So if anybody would like to reach out to Angela, just get things back on track, we will put all the contact information of how to get in touch with her in the comments. And again, it was a pleasure speaking with you today, Angela, as always. And again, everybody, this is Tracy Armstrong, owner of North Pittsburgh Greeting Company. We are the key to making the first impression. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, guys.